Shalom, shalom. Kohalo, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Yahushai, Barakatah, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, the water, Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kolo Yahweh, Vashim Yahushai, Salaki Yahweh, for my sins right by. Shalaki Yahweh, for my sins as I cry. Kohalo Yahweh, Vashim Yahushai, the water Yahweh, for the brothers as I cry. Shalom Yahweh, Shalom Machiam, Shalom Makwa, Shalom be scattered around the world, Yahushai, Kolo Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Kolo Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, for Rapha all the time. Barakatah Yahweh, for Rapha all the time. Oh, Father Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Abba Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Yahushai. I love to praise Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai. Gotta praise Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai. It's your brother, Obadiah Yahweh Canaan, and Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has brought me out again to bring a lesson out. When I get a lesson, I've got to get on it because that's how he operates. He don't play. This is going to be a very, very extremely, I would say, fruitful to the nth degree, nourishment, high fiber, high protein nourishment in the word today in terms of what's being offered. It's a good one. I think the Most High has been pressing on me about getting it out. I want to try to have a little shorter commentary because I got a lot to cover today and I want to get into it. So I'm going to have to really swing on this one and get things going. I want to give salutations to all of the elect that have been chosen and predestined since the foundation of the world. All of those that are elect. It's a very small remnant, very small few, as the apostles were talking about earlier in their lesson when they did their outside street ministry. Remnant is very small, and we're going to see some dramatic changes coming here very quickly that I believe are going to impact the remnant, the elect, the very elect, and of course the 2/3 as well as all of the rest of the nations. This is going to be a worldwide situation that's happening in reference to what the Most High is going to bring forward. So I want to definitely give admiration and my utmost admiration and respect to the apostles who have been bringing this truth out as accurately as they possibly could under the Ruach HaKodesh for decades in and decades out. They have certainly been doing that, and all of us have been learning from them. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it fooled. Everyone who is in this truth at this point is going to have to give, respect and pay a homage in a respectful way back to the men of the Lord who have been diligently doing this. Now we know that there's been a lot lot of people who have come out in the past who brought things forward that are portions of the truth, but the accuracy still lays with the apostles who have been bringing it out for many years, and that's important to give that respect. We also want to give salutations and respect to the elders who have also been bringing out these truths and the accuracy of it in terms of diligently being out on the highways and byways and doing the work. We want to say salutations to the scattered Israelites that look like other nations, as my brother Malcolm always says, that are scattered around the world. We want to say salutations to them, and they're hopefully elect, as well as the Akim and the Akwab, who are scheduled to be awakened by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So we want to get those citations out. We want to get into this. Now, here's the thing. Got a lesson today that's going to be a hard hitter, okay? But I always want to continue to tell you and say this, because this is very important, all right? I think that this is of utmost importance. I can't stress enough how important it is that we continue to offer our righteous praise and worship and all honor and infinite honors and praise and worship to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's where it all sits. That's where it all goes, because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is in control of absolutely everything. I mean absolutely everything. We gotta really start focusing down on the fact that this is where we are. I know my Akim brothers are very diligent in bringing out prophetic narratives and prophetic precept scriptures and information that's is extremely important that has to be brought out. You have to bring out the prophecies. If you're not speaking in terms of the prophecies that are coming forward, then it's not going to make a difference at all in reference to what you can understand and where it can go. But we have to still stay focused on disclaiming the fact that Yahweh, the Father, is in control of absolutely everything. He says he's going to put this whole entire world system, this is going to be the footstool for his son, who is going to reign forever and ever here on this terra firma that he created. And I'm just, giving you that in terms of the commentary on that side of it. I can pull the scripture, but we know those who are studied that he's going to put this from Hebrews. He's going to give this to his son, this entire earthly plane, and it's going to become a paradise that's perfect. It's going to be in perfect order. Nothing from this period of time, this eonic period of time, is going to be in a perfect order over there. We don't need it. We can't use anything from this system that the Most High has set up prior to the fall in terms of predestination. We need to clearly understand that. I know that sometimes we get a little zealful, and when we do become so zealful, we start bringing out the fact that we think about certain things that we're experiencing here in our chains, these carnal chains we're in this flesh, and we start thinking that we're going to transcend those things into the new covenant. Well, that I can't see how that could work, because one, everything in the new covenant is going to be done decently and in order, perfectly decent, perfectly in order. So decent and in perfect order, perfectly decent and perfect order. It's no question about that. When the Most High did this, when he did this process here, we clearly see he had to change and modify the law to fit this fallen state we're in. Let's not get it twisted, my Akim brothers and my Aquabian sisters. This system is a fallen state. Everything that's going on here had to be adjusted to operate in this fallen state. Everything that had to do with the way reproduction was provided, and the process of the reproduction, who was going to be involved in the reproduction. We have to understand, the Most High created all of the spirits that exist before they were in flesh bodies. All the spirits were created at that time in spiritual bodies. And he didn't have to use the attributes of what he made from the electrochemiluminescence that created these flesh chains in order to bring a reproductive process to creation and to multiply. He did it because of the fallen state here. Now, our Father can do any, Yahweh Hashem Shai can do anything. Let me say that. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, there's no limitations with his power. It's beyond what we can really understand. He can create a vessel that is beyond what we can imagine in terms of its ability. As far as everything, reproduction, operating in spiritual power, operating in vastness of universes that he has probably created everywhere, and to be able to travel with or without a chariot, I'm sure, I'm sure that he's going to operate in the way that he wants to, in the way he sees so fit, because it's his control, it's his creation, and he's multiply creating all the time. So there's nothing that cannot be acquired. Does he need physical bodies to produce his creation again in any format? No, he doesn't. He can produce his creation any way he wants to. And when he determines and shows us when that becomes the case, which will probably be in the new covenant, we have our idea of how it's going to be done, but we don't have actual physical and factual evidence of the way it's going to be done. We can only prophesy in part and know in part. And then the part we don't know, we have to surmise from that how that process will continue. But we just don't really know. So we can't really say we know exactly the way Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is going to put everything back together to perfect to the nth degree. And I said to the nth degree. We know in part and we prophesy in part, and that's what we do. So let's not get that twisted. We need to make sure we understand that. Now, I want to tell you what my topic is today. The Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai gave me, what he gave me. And it's important, because it's a very deep topic, and we're going to get deep into it, and we're going to pull a lot of scripture in order to do this, because it's very important to do that. And we got to get studied. I got a lot of notes I took, so we're going to really get heavy into this. So you're going to need to take notes on this situation. You're going to need to go and research what is being taught, what is being said, okay, because you need to understand these things, all right? You're going to definitely pay attention. This is not for entertainment. If you're interested in being entertained, you have to go to another channel. We're just strictly here trying to enlighten and teach and bring forward what the elect is going to offer and how we should be offering the fact that Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is in control of absolutely everything. We need to stop beefing up the puppetized Esau Edom that he's using to the nth degree without disclaiming the Most High Yahweh is controlling all of it. I keep saying this, and he's going to pound on me, and Yahweh Hashem Yahweh is pounding on me. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is going to continue to pound on me, because I got to continue to say this, because we do not praise and we do not worship. We pray, yes, but we need to do all three. We got to start bringing this up. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of repercussions coming down from a spiritual capacity if we do not start becoming a praise and worship and praying elect Hebrew Israelite chosen people. If we don't do this, we're going to see a lot of the cup that's being poured out, and we're going to be touched in a major way. We have to get to this, okay? This is what we're talking about. The cup. What we're going to talk about now today is, let me get into the title. The title is, let me explain. All right, first of all, we got to understand how prophecy works, and we got to understand how history works, because they're two sides of the same coin, and they cohesively work together the way it works. Now, the Most High gave me this. The end is New Covenant revealed prophecy. Okay, the end is New Covenant revealed prophecy. The beginning is and was Old Testament revealed history. Okay? The beginning, when the Most High got things started from the beginning, that was Old Testament revealed history. So you got New Covenant revealed prophecy and Old Testament revealed history. That's how it works. Now, that's going to take us into what covenant means. What is a covenant? And we're going to go into deep portions of it. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about that for a second before I go read into details about my notes about covenant and what covenant stands for, because we need to understand that. But let's understand this. Yahweh Shem Yahushua has established covenants, and he honors covenants across all his creation. What do I mean by that? Okay, everything that we get involved in here in this dispensation, or shall I say this eonic period of time, this time period, everything that the Most High developed in this time period, as well as from predestination, is a form of a covenant. Okay, this is where we need to know what a covenant is. Okay, all right, I'm going to give you a definition for that first. And then after I give you the definition for the covenant, I'm going to explain a little bit more about why everything is a covenant, even what Esau Edom's using in reference to how he establishes his wickedness, that he's being used to puppetize. He's puppetized and being used by Yahweh Shem Yahushua all through the process. Okay, now, all right, Shalaki, let me get my glasses on here. Shalaki, here we go. All right, all right, all right. In the Hebrew, the word covenant means berith, okay? Berith, okay, means primarily a cutting, all right? With reference to the custom of cutting or dividing animals in two and passing between the parts in ratifying a covenant. Genesis chapter 15, we're going to go there. Jeremiah chapter 34, 18 through 19. In the New Testament, the corresponding word is dietes. Dietes, that's Diatheke, which is frequently translated testament in the authoritative version. It is biblical, meaning two parties. The word is used of two parties, right? Okay, of a covenant between Yahweh and man, e.g., power covenanted with Noah after the flood, that like a judgment should not be repeated. All right, it is not precisely like a covenant between men, but was a promise or agreement by Yahweh, by our power. The principal covenants are the covenant of works. Okay, that's where we were at. But I just wanted to let you know, Berit is where the covenant language is spoken of or comes from. Now, why I'm saying that is very simple. Everything that Yahweh Shem Yahushua has put together for us as a chosen people from the beginning was built around covenant. Abraham, Esau, they all have a form of a covenant, all right? Esau's covenant became, he got the sword as a blessing and the fatness of the earth as a blessing. And between the sword and the fatness of the earth as a blessing, he has deception slipped in there. So his covenant is creating covenants, and those covenants that he creates through Yahweh Shem Yahushua, let me finish, make sure I tell you, Esau can't create a covenant of wickedness or a covenant of deception unless the Most High allows him to do this, okay? We still got to go back to complete disclaimers all the time. We're talking about things because right now at this point in prophecy, we have to relate the fact that the Most High is controlling all parts of everything that's going on. Don't let me miss this with you, because you got to go on point with this and start dealing with this in a heavier fashion. Because when you bug out, Shalaki, when you talk to bug outs and when you talk to people who don't know the Most High, they don't know Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, and when you talk about how Esau is doing things, you actually are blaspheming and disrespecting the Most High by not telling these people who are hearing this message or hearing this preaching and this prophesying that the Most High is in control of all things, and he's going to control all things. Because if you think that you're telling them something and they're getting the impression that it's just Esau being able to do whatever he wants, just willy-nilly do whatever, then that takes away from the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That's why you have to disclaim that the Most High is taking and controlling all things as he does what he does with prophecy and history. Okay, he controls it all. That's why I said you got to talk about it in the beginning, you got to talk about it in the middle, and you got to talk about it in the end, that the Most High is in total control of all things that's going on. Now, back to the covenant situation. Okay, Esau Edom puts covenants together that are of a wicked nature. That's like everything that we did in terms of the application of covenant. He got it from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, of course. And so what he does is he twists it up and he uses it in a way that's detrimental to us as a chosen people and to the world. Okay, how does that work? Okay, his laws are covenants. Okay, the way he puts his laws together are structured in covenants. Unrighteous decrees come from his covenants and stuff. He sets it up where he actually sets you up like a snare, and we're going to see principles of that in the precepts I pull out. And that's what you have to understand. And so when he puts these covenants together and he brings you involved into them and gets you in them, what happens is you become an abomination to the Most High. You become unrighteous. You become unclean. You become in a position where the Most High, he can't stand to be upon you or to be near you or look upon you or hear from you. So Yahushua has to clean us up in the degree of getting us out of these wicked covenants and showing his righteousness through the blood he shed for us, and puts us in a position where we're able to be we can be filtered away and shed these covenants that have been put upon us, which is what we have going on right now. So you have a situation where, you know, if you get any kind of property, if you get any kind of possessions, Esau makes sure he puts covenants in it that create a snaring process on you to hold you to that. You don't even own it, but it still has you snared in a covenant type relationship. Just like the same thing when it has to do with any relationships you get together, whether it be marriages, whether it be family issues, whether it be so-called religious issues where you go to certain facilities, you know, and claim that you're praying to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, which you know you cannot build a facility that has or holds the Father or the Son. That's not the nature of it, or his Spirit. His Spirit dwells in his creation, within the men of Israel, within the Israelite people. That's where the Spirit dwells. It doesn't dwell in these other nations. Okay, he said he's not even dealing with them, and that's in Psalms 147. He talked about 19 that, you know, my word dwells. He said, I have my laws and statutes and any commandments, roughly paraphrased, in Jacob and Israel, and he hasn't dealt with any other nation. That's roughly paraphrased. Okay, you know, so I give my laws to Jacob and Israel, and I have not dealt so with any other nation. And as to my statutes and commandments, they have not known them. See, of course, so that means he only has what he is and who he is as a power in his people that he chose, and his covenants reside in them. There's two major foundational covenants, which was you have your old, like I said, the Old Testament, which was of course history that's being revealed now in the New Covenant. All right, and that's being revealed, but the New Covenant is prophecy being revealed. It's not completed yet. That's why Yahushua said, when all these things are finished, roughly paraphrased, all prophecy is fulfilled, then we're in the New Covenant. We're not in the New Covenant completely at this point because all prophecies have not been fulfilled. See, that's why you see Esau built false narratives and false wicked type covenants where he's giving you the impression that you're in the truth, that you're in the New Covenant right now. But that's not the case. You know, Yahushua's blood opened the door and paved the way and washed down the altars and washed down all the aspects of the inner court of the area upon which we would go to present ourselves to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, and washed it down with righteousness so that when we approach and come in through Yahushua, we're clean enough to be able to have the snare of the false covenants removed from us, so Yahweh can look at blessing us and bringing us into the truth so we can learn more. So we got to understand all things are built around these covenants, and these covenants are detrimental to our activity and the way we operate. We have to learn how to branch and attach ourselves to covenants that are of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And that's through the law, statutes, and commandments. Practicing the righteous act, like it says in Judges chapter 5. This is the form of reestablishing our relationship with the true covenants of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and not the covenants of the world that are falsely presented and creating snares for us as we try to move forward, okay, in this truth. Because all things have been determined by the Most High, including and up to predestination of those individuals that are slated to do specifically what Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai scheduled you to perform in from the foundation of the world. Once your spirit met in that format and had that meeting and that conversation, I said this in the last lesson before, what you have is a situation where you were presented at that time, just like when all the angels came together and were presented by Yahweh Shai, with Yahweh Shai to Yahweh, and he wanted to go against Ahab at Ramoth Gilead, and he had to use angels from the left hand side. He didn't have to. Here's what he decided, and they went in to talk to all of Ahab's prophets and be a lying spirit in those prophets. So those angels from the left hand side, and one of those spirits went in to do that, and that process is still going on. You can clearly see it right now, that you got false prophets and false teachers and all these of the like that are out here still talking lies and selling lies, and actually really literally selling lies and giving it to the people who are destined to be in that position. So the covenant situation is a big problem. So like I said, what we're dealing with here is we're dealing with the end is new covenant revealed prophecy, and the beginning was Old Testament revealed history. And that's the nature of the lesson here today, and we're going to get into talking more about covenants and what's going on here. All right, so let's go ahead and start reading some more of this. All right. All right, so as I said before, we'll start on 2. Okay, Yahweh promising to save and bless men on condition of perfect obedience. Now we know that perfect obedience is something that in these flesh bodies is something that would be extremely hard to accomplish. Perfect obedience at this point in time is be perfect like your Father is perfect in heaven. Rough paraphrase that precept means that you should perfectly do your best to study and become approved, show yourself to be approved through the Ruach HaKodesh. And when you study to show yourself approved, you're trying to move towards being perfect, because studying the Most High's word, his law, statutes, commandments, and finding out how you are to operate is pushing you in the direction of being perfect, or going towards perfection. You see what I'm saying? It's like, that's what it's doing. So make sure you understand that. All right. In the covenant of grace, or Yahweh's promise to save men on condition of their believing in Hamashiach and receiving him as their master and personal master and savior, Shaki. The first is called the Old Covenant, from which the first part of the Bible, the Old Testament, they had a Latin rendering of the word covenant, right? The second is called the New Covenant, or the New Testament. Covenant between man and man, i.e., okay, so, a solemn compact or agreement either between tribes or nations. Okay, you can have covenants that way. That's, you look to Joshua chapter 9, 6, and then 15:1 in Joshua, Samuel 11:1, or between individuals, that would be Genesis chapter 3, 31:44, by which each party bound himself to fulfill certain conditions, and was assured of receiving certain advantages. In making such a covenant, Yahweh was solemnly invoking as witness, Genesis 31:50, and an oath was sworn, Genesis 21:31. A sign or witness of the covenant was sometimes framed, such as a gift, Genesis 21:30, or a pillar or heap of stones erected, and that's Genesis 31:52. Okay, so I'm getting, these are my notes, and I'm got them down, so I want to make sure I'm covering all this. Covenant, a contract or agreement between two parties in the Old Testament. The Hebrew word was said berith, and it's always thus translated. Berith is derived from a root which means to cut, and hence to covenant is a cutting, with reference to the cutting or dividing of animals into two parts and contracting parties passing between them in making a covenant. Genesis 15, Jeremiah 34:18 through 19. Also, the circumcision is a covenant relationship that happens when you perform that law and that ritual promise to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? The corresponding word in the New Testament Greek is diatiki, which is however rendered testament generally in the authorized version. It ought to be rendered just as the word berith of the Old Testament covenant. This word is used of the covenant or compact between man and man, Genesis 21:32, or between tribes of nations, 1 Samuel 11:1, Joshua 9:6 and 15. And in entering into a covenant, Yahweh was solemnly called on to witness the transaction, Genesis 31:50, and hence it was called a covenant of the Lord, 1 Samuel 20, verse 8. The marriage compact is called the covenant of Yahweh, Proverbs 2:17, because the marriage was made in Yahweh's name. Wicked men are spoken of as acting as if they had made a covenant with death, not to destroy them, or with hell, not to devour them. Isaiah chapter 28:15 through 18. The word is used with reference to Yahweh's revelation of himself in the way of promise or of favor to men. Thus Yahweh promised to Noah after the flood. He called a covenant, Genesis chapter 9, and then Jeremiah 33:20. My covenant. We have an account of Yahweh's covenant with Abraham, and that's Genesis chapter 17. And we have Leviticus 26:42 of the covenant of the priesthood. Numbers 25:12 and 13. Deuteronomy 33:9. A lot of you know that. Nehemiah 13:29. And the covenant of Sinai, Exodus chapter 34:27 and 28. Leviticus 26:15, which was afterwards renewed at different times in the history of Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 29. All right. Joshua chapter 1, verse 24, and 2 Chronicles chapter 15, 23, 29, and 34. Ezra chapter 10, Nehemiah 9, in conformity with human custom, Yahweh's covenant is said to be confirmed with an oath, and that was Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 31, all right? And Psalms chapter 89:3, and to be accomplished by a sign, Genesis chapter 9:17. I said that one, and hence the covenant is called Yahweh's counsel, oath, promise. Psalms 89:3-4, and 105, Psalms 105, 8-11, Hebrews chapter 6:13, and we also have Isaiah 59:21 and Jeremiah 31:33 and then 34. The term covenant is also used to designate the regular succession of day and night, Jeremiah 33:20. The Sabbath, Exodus 31:16, and circumcision, as I said, Genesis chapter 17, 9 and 10. And in nor any ordinances of Yahweh, Jeremiah 34:13 and 14. A covenant of salt signifies an everlasting covenant in the sealing of ratifying of which salt as an emblem of propriety, of perpetuity, shalaki, is used. Numbers 11, 18, 19, and Leviticus 2, chapter 2, 13, and 2 Chronicles 13 and 5. See, I told you I have a lot of scriptures to cover because covenant is all over the Bible. In fact, to be honest with you, and I'll give you this information, the verses about covenant in the Bible, total, we're talking 272 in the covenants and in 32 books, 272 verses in 31 books, but a total of 313 in 37 books when you include the Apocrypha, because you're talking about 41 verses in the Apocrypha that speak about covenant in general. See, that's important to know. As I said, 272 verses in 31 books in the Bible, right, in the King James, and then another 41 verses in the Apocrypha, which gives you and that makes it 37 books, and it also makes it 313 total verses about covenant, which is, we're not going to cover all 313 verses about covenant, but we're going to cover a good amount. You need to know that. All right, covenant of works, the constitution under which Adam was placed at his creation in this covenant. The contracting parties were A, Yahweh, and the moral governor, and B, Adam, a free moral agent to a degree. Okay, all right, and representative of all his natural prosperity, and that shows you that precept out of Romans chapter 5, 12 through 19 to tell you that. All right, so let me just go ahead and pop over to that one, Romans, because that's important. Romans chapter 12. All right, and we're gonna go Romans chapter 5, Shalaki. What did I say? 12? I meant 5. Sorry, my bad. Sorry. Romans 5, and that's in 12 through 19, right? All right. Wherefore, as by one man's sin entered into the world, the death of sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. See? All right, so you can see right there, all right, the Most High is showing you that this sin entered in the world through the fact that disobedience came, but the law was given in an oral fashion to Adam at the first time when all those other nations were in the garden, okay? All right, 14. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is the figure of him that was to come. 15. But not as the offense, so also is the free gift. For through the offense of one, many be dead, much more the grace of Yahweh and the gift by grace, which is by one man, Yahushua HaMashiach, hath abound unto many. And not as it was by one that sinned, so is the gift, for the judgment was by one to condemnation, but the free gift is of many offenses unto justification. 17. For if one man's offense death reigned by one, much more they will receive abundance of grace, and of the gift of righteousness shall reign in life by one, Yahushua HaMashiach. Therefore, by the offense of one judgment came upon all men, the condemnation, even so by the righteousness of the free gift came upon all men unto jurisdiction, justification of life. 19. For as by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by obedience of one shall many be made righteous. Okay, and I'll just finish out the last two verses. Moreover, the law entered that the offense offense might abound. But where sin abound, grace did much more abound. That as sin hath reigned unto death, even so might grace reign through righteousness unto eternal life by Yahushua HaMashiach, our Lord. So, in a nutshell, what we're hearing is covenants were already being drawn up by Yahweh, predestined from the foundation of the world, because Yahushua was chosen before the foundation of the world to serve this particular process in order for us to have salvation. This is only for the Israelites. This is only for the chosen seed of the Most High. Even though you have a lot of religious practitioners that expound and try to say that salvation is offered to everyone. It's not that way. Salvation in terms of eternal life is offered only to Israelites and only to the chosen seed of the Most High, who will become transformed into the sons of Yahweh, or what some people call the sons of God. And that includes the male and the female of the chosen seed line. It's not extended eternal life to all the rest of the nations everywhere that the Most High created everything. It's not extended to them in that way. They will be salvaged for a process of time through a period which can be construed as being saved, but it is not an eternal salvation for them. Okay, so that means also the covenant doesn't apply to them. That's why I always say, why do you even debate with people who are not of this chosen seed line, or talk with them, because they don't apply to any of this. This has nothing to do with them. I remember beloved brother Manak Zakba, GMS, he made a statement about if there's a letter that was sent to him from his wife, I think that's what he said, and that if he read it out loud, it doesn't apply to anyone else. Or if someone read it to him, that a letter she sent to him, it doesn't apply to anyone else. It just applies to him, because that's his wife sending a letter to him about something that he is inheriting, or he is only validated to acquire, not anyone else. That needs to be addressed in that way. This covenant and these covenants are only for us. That's why in Romans it specifically tells you that the promises, the covenants, the ordinances, the laws, the service of Yahweh, all, roughly paraphrased, all belongs to the chosen people of the Most High. It's not extended to no multi-ethnical church situation. That's not correct. That's not new. You can't find that anywhere in the truth. That is some twistology that's been put in based on the ones who claim supremacy of the world, put in that position by Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, have put different directives and narratives in the truth that bring these falsehoods forward. Okay, so make sure we understand that. All right. Okay, so we had stopped. We read Romans, and we got that precept there because we needed to have that. And that was Romans 5:12-19. The promise was life. Matthew chapter 19, 16, and Galatians 3:12. So let's go there. Matthew chapter 19. I'm telling you, you should be taking notes on this. You should be writing down these scriptures. I said a lot of scriptures in the beginning of the commentary that you needed to write down so you can go back and pull this up. This is part of your study. This is what we do. We have to get in there and get this information in order to give it to you. So we pull in these precepts because Yahweh Shem Yahushua puts it in our spirit to do it, which means if you can't remember them, you write them down. And if you have to replay this lesson in order to get them, then that's what you have to do, because we got some precepts to go through. So you better be trying to write them down, or you're going to have to go back to this lesson to get them. Okay, we're going to Matthew chapter 19, which we are, and we're going to read 16. All right. All right, and I'm going to read 16. I might go a little further, but just listen up. All right, Matthew chapter 19, verse 16. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? Question. There is none good but one, and that is Yahweh the Father. But but if thou enter in, thou wilt enter into life. Keep the commandments. See, it's the first thing you got to understand. Keep the commandments. He saith unto him, which Yahushua said, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. 19, honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And the young man saith unto him, all these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? And Yahushua said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. Okay? But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. See, covenants. He had a lot of covenants that he was snared under. And that's why he could not see his way to actually go and let this stuff go, so that he could pursue life in the commandments of learning the truth, and then become affiliated with eternal life if he was an Israelite, a chosen individual of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? So that's why that's important to see that portion of it, and that's why I came to that precept. Okay, the next precept I want to pull was Galatians. All right, so go with me to Galatians, and we're going to pull Galatians chapter 3, and these are adjoining precepts to this lesson. Okay, 3 and 12, and it says, and the law is not of faith. Shalaki, say it again. And the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. So the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. So he's trying to tell you that's a form of the covenant that you would have to try to operate in, which is extremely difficult for you, okay? And all of us, all right? And then it says here in 13, Hamashiach hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us, for it is written, cursed is everything hanging on the tree. Now, don't walk past that. See, this is a lot of things that religious practitioners get all twisted up in, where they think the law's done away with, where he specifically says, Yahushua has redeemed us from the curse of the law. Now, let's just stop there for a second. The curse of the law, that is the portion of the covenant that is punishable by you going against the laws. In other words, if you do not perform the laws in terms of what is righteous, which you shouldn't have a problem with doing this, it's not a burden for you, then the curse of the law still applies, which means the law's not done away with. It's just the curse of the law, the chosen of the Most High after repentance and going into following the law, statutes, and commandments, along with your faith in Yahushua, who has removed the curse of the law off of us, then you're operating towards the perfect. You see what I'm saying? You cannot operate towards or strive towards the perfect, or go for that mark or run that race until you repent and have the curse of the law removed from you from your repentance. That's the redeeming factor that allows you to perform in that process. And then as the laws still apply, you're not under the curse of that. See, this is the difference that they don't understand. They think everything's done away with and they can just do whatever they want. No, he didn't die and be resurrected and clean everything up so that you can continue to do whatever you want. That's not part of the process, okay? All right. The condition was perfect obedience to the law. The test in this case being abstaining from eating the fruit of the knowledge of the tree of evil, which means Adam didn't abstain, and neither did Eve. Talking to those nations in the garden, and then once you do that, you automatically violated what the Most High said in terms of performing his oral law, which of course became what the law we have to this day. He said, don't talk to them, don't don't talk to them, don't go near them, don't touch them, don't touch what they talk about, don't touch what they involved in. Don't do it. But what happened, just like anything else that we deal with now, the Most High knew this is where it was going to go. He's already in control of everything. And so now we're in this fallen state, still touching covenants that we're told to stay away from, but here we go touching these covenants again. Okay, all the plans of the Most High to get us through everything. This whole prophetic process is coming down to that whole point. Okay, we're trying to move as quickly as we can, but we got a lot to cover. It's going to be a pretty long lesson because I ain't even halfway through some of this. It might even be a part two, just to give you a break. But hey, it is what it is. Okay. The penalty was death, of course, and that's in Genesis chapter 2, 16 through 17. You should have read this already, right? The covenant is also called the covenant of nature, as made with man in his natural or unfallen state. A covenant of life, because life was the promise attached to obedience, right? Obedience. And a legal covenant because it demanded perfect obedience to the law. The tree of life was outward sign and seal that the life which was promised in the covenant, and hence it is usually called the seal of that covenant. Now, the tree of life, of course, the way most of the practitioners try to believe what it is they think it's some kind of physical tree that someone had to touch some kind of physical fruit that had something to do with how that process went down. That's not the case, and that's not the way it goes. So you can't listen to fairy tales from people. It wasn't built in that fashion. Okay, what we're dealing with here is the tree of life has to do with the knowledge that was given to Adam and Eve in the area that they were put in Mesopotamia, right? And when they were put in that area in Northeast Africa, they were amongst many other nations of people, a multitude of the Most High's creation who were there. And we were to follow the rules and regulations that the Most High set up for us to manage the process of his world and his system, and also to give the knowledge of who the Most High is and was and what he was performing to all the rest of the nations that were in that area of the world at the time. And what did we do? We did not perform what we were supposed to. So in us not doing that part, that became unfruitful, and we fell as a people. And so then the power was distributed amongst all the nations because that knowledge was spread out and became corrupted and tainted and toxic. And so this is what happened with that particular process. It wasn't an actual tree, and there was no actual fruit that was involved, okay? So those who know do better, all right? Okay, all right. All right, this covenant is abrogated under the gospel in as much as Hamashiach has fulfilled all its conditions in behalf of his people, the Israelites, and now offers salvation on the condition of faith is still in force. However, it as it rests on the immutable justice of Yahweh and is binding on all who have not fled to Hamashiach and accepted his righteousness. So you can see you have to still perform the laws. That's what that little sophisticated line was said in my notes. But you have to still obey the laws, but you have to have faith in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Okay, you still have to do that. It's a combination. Just like I told you, you have to be able to praise, worship, and pray. It's all three. You can't do just one. You have to praise, worship, and pray. That's how it works, along with your faith in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, as well as practicing the righteous acts of the law. You don't get a pass just because you want to pray, and you don't get a pass just because you think you have faith and you don't do any works. You don't do anything. That's not going to work, because that's why faith without works is dead, and it's in the same thing. So you have to do all of it, not part of it. Okay? All right, so now, covenant of grace. The eternal plan of redemption entered into by the three persons, the eternal plan entered in by Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, okay, and carried out in several parts. In the Father, Yahweh, representing control of everything, and the head of what's what they call the Godhead, and then of course he uses his indivisible sovereignty through Yahweh Shai, okay, the Son, and of course the angels are providing the work and the power as Yahweh Shai does everything the Most High has invented and designed, and then of course they did all the construction in the building. Okay, right? John 17:4-6 and 9, Isaiah chapter 42:6, Psalms 89:3. Right, the conditions of this covenant were on the part of the Father, all needful preparation to the Son for the accomplishment of his work. That's Hebrews chapter 10, verse 5, Isaiah 42:1-7, and of course B supports in the work. That's Luke chapter 22:43, and of course C, that had been A, B, and C, right? A glorious reward in the exaltation of Hamashiach when his work was done. And that's Philippians 2:6-11. Write it down. His investiture with universal dominion. Okay, John chapter 5:22, Psalms 110 verses 1. His having the administration of the covenant committed into his hands. This is what the Most High did. He put all power into the hands of his Son. Now, make sure you understand, he has the controlling factors of everything that happens at this point now, leading all up to prophecy, because he is the spirit of prophecy until it's all fulfilled. But the Most High said that he's backing his Son to the point that he is in control of all the things that are going on. That's why he's going to make the whole earth his footstool and give it to the Son to control. So the power always comes from the Father through the Son and then distributed through the angels to accomplish everything that has to be done. Okay? All right. That's why it says, having the administration of the covenant committed into his hands. Matthew chapter 28:18, John chapter 1, verse 12, 17 and 2, Acts chapter 2:33, and then the final salvation of all his people, that's Isaiah chapter 35 and 10, 53 and 10 and 11, and Jeremiah 31:33. You'll hear a lot about that one, right? And then Titus 1, chapter 1, verse 2. That's why we have to understand that Yahweh Shai is the author and the finisher of our faith. He's the author and the finisher for Yahweh Shai. For Yahweh. That's what Yahweh Shai is. And he is the author and finisher of all that is happening. So everything that you see being done, he's in control of it for the Father. So that's why you have to call out your disclaimers and stop giving the creation credit for things that's happening, because the creation doesn't create or control anything that happens. They're just performing things that are happening. Okay? That's why you have to go to Yahweh B'Ashem Yahweh Shai and make sure you give Father credit for the fact that he put Yahweh Shai in charge of puppetizing all of the creation to do the things that you see happening. And they have to come to fruition because Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. Okay? All right, that's why this lesson is what it is. New covenant revealed prophecy, Old Testament revealed history. Okay? All right? Let's finish. Okay? Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, is the mediator fulfills all its conditions in behalf of his people. Who are his people? The Hebrew Israelites, the children of the chosen seed. Okay, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not the multi-ethnical church, not all these people in the world, just the people he came. It says, I'm only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, not to the world, not to these people who claim to be in these facilities, these so-called buildings and these so-called platforms they set up as something called churches. not who he's going to. That's not who he came to. Okay, he's not trying to get anyone in a serapeum. A serapeum is not where he was sending the apostles. He's not after Serapis Christi. That's not who the Savior is, and the serapeum is not where you need to be. All right, but ergo, the Most High got you there, then that's your lot, and that's where you're going to be stuck. Okay, until all prophecies are fulfilled. Okay, all right. Now, we're going to get into some precepts here because there's a lot to cover. I do have a lot of precepts I pulled, but I did not put. I got the titles of the precepts. In other words, you know what's important. Like when we talk about the covenant, we talk about there's just a myriad of minor subtopics that cover this, and they're called a messianic type coverage. If I talk about sacred, what's sacred in terms of the covenant, that would be in Joshua chapter 9, 18 to 21, and Galatians 3:15. Joshua 9, 18 to 21, and Galatians 3:15. Write some of these down. This is a good time to write some stuff down. What's binding? That would be Joshua 9, 18, 20, Jeremiah 34, 8 through 21, Ezekiel 17, 14 through 18, and Galatians 3:15. That's the binding. Binding not only on those who make them, but on those who are represented. That's Deuteronomy chapter 29, 14 through 15. See, that talks about us specifically who are under these curses on terms of what's binding, okay? I gave you that one. The blood of the covenant, that's Exodus 24, 8, and we're also going to see the blood of the covenant in Matthew, all right? Chapter 22, 23, and 24. You see all of that in there in terms of what's to come, to what's covering you, okay? The book of, that would be Exodus 24:7, the book of the covenant, the blood of the covenant, right? Okay, the Mosaic law called a covenant, that would be Exodus chapter 34, verse 28, and that deal with contracts and vows of men with men, the breach of promise of Shalak, the breach of punishment, the breach of punished, and that's Samuel, 2 Samuel, breach of punished, 2 Samuel 21, 1 through 6, Jeremiah 34, 8 through 22, and Ezekiel 17, 13 through 19. The national portion of the covenant and the alliance, as far as how it politically sets up for us, the children of Israel, that's been ratified, of course, the Most High don't play, by giving the hand, and that's Ezra chapter 10, 19, and Lamentations 5, 6, and Ezekiel 17, 18 as well on that portion. Okay, by losing the shoe, okay, remember Ruth lost the shoe, which was a portion of how the covenant was either violated or not operated under appropriately with that whole situation that went down with Boaz and Ruth and the shoe, right? That's Ruth chapter 4, 7 through 11. Written and sealed as far as the covenant goes, that would be Nehemiah chapter 9, 38, and Jeremiah 32, 10 through 12. Okay, by giving presents, that would be Genesis chapter 21, 27 through 30, 1 Samuel 18, 3 through 4, by making a feast. Now, making the feast days in reference to how it pertains to how the covenant is attached to it. Okay, that would be Genesis chapter 26, 30. And by a monument, that's Genesis 31, 45 through 46. Genesis 31 through chapter 31, 49 through 53. And by salting, we are the salt of the earth. We are that blessed people that without salt there is no savor, right? That would be Leviticus 2, 13, and Numbers 18, 19, and 2 Chronicles 13:5. Leviticus 2:13, Numbers 18:19, and 2 Chronicles 13:5. By offering a sacrifice, I did a lesson on the blood of the sacrifice through the Spirit. That was a good lesson. It has a lot to do with the offering of sacrifice. Genesis 15:9-17, Jeremiah 34:18-19. And okay, now the oath, that's important. The oath and contracts. Instances of Abraham and Abimelech, and that's Genesis 21:22-32. Okay, on that. I told you I got a lot of notes. Abimelech and Isaac, that's Genesis 26, chapter 26, and that's 26-31. Okay, so you wanna make sure you read that as well, because that's going to bring in that portion. Jacob and Laban. Now, the apostles were talking about that on their street ministry earlier, about how Rachel, Jacob, and Laban, and how all that transaction and how that went down. Okay, that would be Genesis 31:44-54. Jonathan and David, that's 1 Samuel 18:3-4, 1 Samuel 20:16, and 1 Samuel 20:42, and 2 Samuel 21:7. 1 Samuel 18:3-4, 1 Samuel 20:16, 1 Samuel 20:42, and 2 Samuel 21:7. All right. Okay. The Judah with each other, or the Israelites with each other to serve Yahweh. 2 Chronicles 15:12-15, Nehemiah 10:28-32. King Zedekiah and his subjects, that was Jeremiah 34:8. Remember what happened to him? Got blinded, right? Doing the wrong thing outside the covenant. Ahab with Ben-Hadad, that's 1 Kings 20:34. We talked about that just a few minutes ago, about how he got lying prophets sent to him for breaking the covenant of the Most High, right? Subjects with sovereign. 2 Chronicles 23:1-3, and 2 Chronicles 23:16. Of Yahweh with men confirmed with an oath, that's Genesis 22:16, 26:3, Genesis 50:24, Psalms 89:35, Psalms 105:9, Luke 1:73, and Hebrews 6:13, and Hebrews 6:17-18. When I talked about binding earlier, Hebrews 3:26, Jeremiah 11:2-3, and Galatians 3:15, which the practitioners always seem to use that one, Galatians 3:15 and Galatians 3:28, right? Everlasting, Genesis 8:20-22, Genesis 9:1-17, and Psalms 105:8, Psalms 105:10, and Isaiah 54:10, and Isaiah 61:8. I did a lesson, everlasting to everlasting, Yahweh's promises. That was a very good lesson. You probably want to look that one up. Okay. Yahweh's faithful to. Who's he faithful to? He said faithful to us. Okay. And under faithful to, you have Leviticus 26:44-45, Deuteronomy 4, verse 31, Deuteronomy 7. We're the chosen people, the Most High, a special people, right? 8-9, Judges 2, chapter 2, verse 1, 1 Kings 8:23, Psalms 105 again, 8-11, Psalms 106:45, Psalms 111:5, and Micah 7:20. Okay, reputed by Yahweh on account of Israel's idolatry. Okay, Jeremiah 44:26-27, and Hebrews 8, verse 9. Broken by Judah, Jeremiah 22, or by Israelites, right? 22:9, Ezekiel 16:59, Hebrews 8:9. Okay, all right. We're getting close to getting to our precepts here. I know, like I told you, it's going to be a long lesson, so you might as well get settled in and hope you're taking good notes. All right. punishments for breaking the covenant. That comes under Leviticus chapter 26, 25 through 46. Instances of the Sabbath. That's Exodus 31:16. That's important. That's a very important one you need to read up. Of the Ten Commandments, Exodus 34:28, and Deuteronomy 5:2 through 3, Deuteronomy 9:9. Okay, as far as what happened with Adam, Genesis 2:16 through 17 with Noah, Genesis 8:16, and Genesis 9:8 through 17 with Abraham. Okay, we're talking 12, Genesis 12, 1 through 3, Genesis 1:15, Genesis 17, 1 through 22, and Exodus 6 and verses 4. Okay, all right. I did Abraham, but I got a bunch for him here as well. General, his references in reference to the covenant and what was done. Genesis 12, 1 through 3, Genesis 1:15, I said it already. Genesis 17, 1 through 22, Exodus 6, 4 through 8, and Psalms 105, 8 through 11, Romans 9, remember that's a big one, 7 through 13, and Romans 48, verses 3, the circumcision, right? With Isaac, Genesis 17:9, with Jacob, Genesis 28, 13 through 15, with the Israelites to deliver them from Egypt, all right? Exodus 6, 4 through 8. With Phineas, Numbers 25, 12 through 13. With Israel at Hebron, Deuteronomy 5, 2 through 3. Remember, they had to make that promise there in Moab, Deuteronomy 29, 1 through 15. And of the Levites, Nehemiah chapter 13, 29, and Micah chapter 2, 4 through 5. And with David, the king under Yahushua, with David and his house, 2 Samuel 23:5, Psalms 89:20 through 37, Jeremiah 33:21. With his people, Isaiah 55:3 and Isaiah 59:21. To be confirmed, Daniel chapter 9:27. And now the second covenant, all right, we're talking Jeremiah 31:31. Everyone knows that one that's been studying 34. Hebrews 8, 4 through 13. Hebrews 12, 18 through 24. And Hebrews 13, 20. All right. And of course, still got a lot here to roll through with Jacob. What did I carry in my notes here? Okay, yeah, let me finish these off here. Okay, the second covenant, I did that. Jeremiah, okay. All right, with Jacob, Genesis 28, verses 20 through 22. Joshua, chapter 24, 19 through 28. Absalom, 2 Samuel, chapter 15, 7 through 8. And Jehoniah, and Josiah, 2 Kings 11:17, Josiah, 2 Kings 23:3, Asa, 2 Chronicles 15:12 through 15, and then Nehemiah 9 verse 38 and Nehemiah 16 verse 10. Israelites, Jeremiah 50 verse 5, and those are vows. We're talking about the vows there, all right? So I covered a lot in terms of the covenants on that part of this lesson. Where am I at? I'm at 114. All right, let's keep it moving. We got some precepts to run now. All right, let's read some precepts because we definitely need to get them in. All right, Genesis chapter 6, verse 18. Go to Genesis chapter 6, verse 18. I'm giving you some time to go. You go to Genesis chapter 6, verse 18. And it says, "But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, thy wife, and thy sons, and their wives with thee." All right? Genesis chapter 9. Go over to 9. And I have down 9:9. And I behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you. Stay on Genesis chapter 9 and go to verse 11. We're going to do 11 and 12 and 13 and then 15. All right, so let's go to 11. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood. Neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. All right. 12. And Yahweh said, this is the token of my covenant which I make between me and you in everything living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. And of course, that was the rainbow that they have perverted and made an abomination, but they can't really because the Most High let them do it, and he's going to take it back. Okay? All right, 13. Genesis 9:13. I do set my bow in the clouds, see, rainbow, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth, which you are a part of it and made from it, so from the flesh. So there you go. All right. Genesis 9:15. And I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the water shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. Right? All right. Next. I took a lot of notes, man. I was not playing. Genesis 9:16. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, and that I may remember the everlasting covenant between Yahweh and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. Genesis chapter 17, 9:17. And Yahweh said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. Genesis chapter 15. Go over to 15 and 18. Genesis chapter 15, verse 18. In the same day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abraham, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river and the river Euphrates. All right? All right, Genesis chapter 17. Go there, 17:2. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. All right? Genesis chapter 17:4. As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. That's what Abraham means. It means he's going to be a father of the multitude. Okay, all right. Apostle Ramland just did a lesson not too long ago on breaking down the difference between Abram and Abraham, where he told you that Abram was going to be honored or loyal, or going to be a blessing at Abram, but Abraham is going to be a father of multitude. Abraham. So it's a difference, right? Okay. All right. That was 17. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a power unto thee and to thy seed after thee. Genesis 17:9. And Yahweh said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. Okay, that was Genesis 17:9. Okay, all right. Genesis 17:10. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. See, that was part of what we talked about before. Genesis 17:11. And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. Right? You got something that's betwixt. That's definitely a mix, a match up there, right? Okay. All right. Genesis 17:13. He that is born in my house, in thy house, and he that is brought with my money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. see, just because you were brought with money and then you were circumcised doesn't mean you get all of the gifts that the seed of Yahweh through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who are of the bloodline, get. See, that's what a lot of wacky tackies get confused on. They think that if they get into the kingdom, that they get all the same rights and righteousness as the Israelites who become the sons of the Most High, Yahweh. No, you don't. You're brought for a purpose into the situation, and your purpose will be served, and that's all you will be performing and do. And after that performing of those services, even if you're put into a state of slavery or servitude, which says in the Bible, after that, the determination is made by Yahweh by Shem Yahushua what happens to your existence after that. And we know from Obadiah in the book that there will be some that will be eliminated from existence, okay? And that precludes Esau Edom's demise, all right? Let's finish, okay? All right. Okay, 17:14, Genesis 17:14. And the uncircumcised man, child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant. See? Genesis 17:19. And Yahweh said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. Saxon, Isaac, sons of, if you're a Saxon, you're a son of Isaac, right? just breaking down that for you, right? All right, by Genesis 17:21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. Okay, Genesis 21:27. And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. So you can make a covenant also with man in that capacity. Genesis 21:32. Thus they made covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up, and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines, those Hamites. Genesis 26:28. And they said, we saw certainly that Yahweh was with thee, and we said, let there be now an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee. Right? Genesis, right? Genesis 31:41. Genesis 31, verse 44. Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, and I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. Right? Exodus chapter 2:24. And Yahweh heard their groanings, and Yahweh remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. See, those are the only ones he made the covenant with. He didn't mention any other nations. No other nations. No multi-ethnical organizations. That ain't where it's at. It ain't gonna be that. Exodus chapter 6, verse 4. And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan and the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. Exodus chapter 6:5. And I have also heard the groanings of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. See? Now therefore, Exodus chapter 19:5. Exodus 19:5. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. See? We have a covenant that's above everybody. And that's Exodus chapter 19:5, right? All right. Exodus chapter 23:32. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. Exodus 23:32. See, that's what I told you. We get snared if we perform covenants with these people. All right. Exodus 24:7. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that Yahweh has said we will do, and be obedient. But he knew you weren't going to do it, but it was good that you were going to get through 1:16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. So you wacky tackies that keep breaking the covenant by not doing it when he's supposed to during the new moon and getting it straight and getting your 7 days after that for your daily, you're screwing up. You're following the wrong calendar. You're following the wrong way. All right? Okay. All right. Exodus 34:10. And he said, behold, I make a covenant before thy people. I will do marvels such as have not done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among thou art shall see, Shalaki, thou shalt see the work of Yahweh, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. See, and that's exactly what he has done with us. A terrible thing for 2,600 years or more, as well as where we are at this point now. And he's going to do marvels and miracles, okay, which he is doing at this point in time now. If you can really see it, if you have eyes to see, and the eye salve is there for you to do that, you will be able to see that, okay? Exodus chapter 34:12. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. I'm going to read that one again, because that is what this lesson is trying to tell you about, why you have to get away from the snares of the covenants of this world, because Esau Edom's been put in charge of doing this, and the Most High is puppetizing him to do that process, and we have to disclaim it. This is an offer of a disclaimer to let you know what the Most High is saying here that you got to learn to stay away from. I'll read it again. All right? Take heed. It's Exodus chapter 34:12. Okay? Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. Okay? Exodus chapter 34:15. All right? Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. See, that's all related to what we shouldn't be making covenants to do these things, okay? This is why this lesson is being brought out so in depth with so much information, because you got to understand that covenants are abound all over us. We got covenants that the Most High has made, and we have covenants that Esau has been allowed to make through the Most High. The Most High is covering these covenants on all sides. He's covering these covenants on all sides. So you got to really be careful on where you are to operate in terms of what covenants you sign up for and get involved with, what contracts you do. I'm trying to do the same thing here. Be conscious to contracts. It's got to be right. Okay, Exodus chapter 34:27. And the Lord said unto Moses, write thou these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel. Okay, that's what he told Moses. Exodus 34:28. And he was there with Yahweh 40 days and 40 nights, and he did neither eat bread nor drink water, and he wrote upon the tablets the words of the command of the covenant, the 10 commandments. See, serious work, man. Leviticus 2:13. And every oblation of thy meat offering shalt thou season with salt. Neither shalt thou suffer the salt of the covenant of thy power to be lacking from thy meat offering. With all thine offering thou shalt offer salt. In other words, when you bring this word out, that's why I cry loud and spare not. It's going to be salty, okay? All this meat that's being prepared and being delivered and being brought out is going to have savor. It's going to come out with that level of knowledge, zeal that goes above what religious practitioners and a lot of these individuals that go to these cemetery schools. This is what we're not doing that part. We're bringing out the truth in that manner. That's why the accuracy is important in reference to what's being said. The salt has to have its savor in order to have its flavor. Okay, let's make sure we understand that. All right. All right. Leviticus 24:8. Every Sabbath he shall sit it in order before Yahweh accordingly, being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant. Read it again. Leviticus Sabbath he shall sit in order before the Lord continually, being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant. Leviticus chapter 26, 9. For I will have respect unto you and make you fruitful and multiply you and establish my covenant with you. That's only to Israelite, not to the rest of the world. Leviticus chapter 26, 15. And if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenants, which is what we were doing and what we've still been doing. Leviticus chapter 26, 25. And I will bring a sword upon you, and I shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when ye are gathered together within your cities, I will send the pestilence among you, and ye shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy. Is this not what's happening right now? Is this not what's happening right now? Do I need to read it again? I will. Leviticus chapter 26, 25. And I will bring a sword upon you, and shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when ye are gathered together within your cities, I will send a pestilence among you, and ye shall be delivered into the hand of your enemy. Leviticus chapter 26, 42. Then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. Did he mention any other nations here in any way, shape, form, or capacity? No, no. They're not in this, okay? Stop debating with them, okay? You're wasting your time, all right? Okay. Leviticus chapter 26, 44. And yet for all that when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, neither will I abhor them to destroy them utterly and to break my covenant with them. For I am Yahweh, their power. Okay? Leviticus 26, 45. But I will for their sakes remember the covenant of their ancestors whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt into the sight of the heathen, that I might be their power, and I am Yahweh. All right? You got it? Now, we're going to the Apocrypha. We just did, because I did the King James, I did the Bible. I'm going to the books that shows covenants, all in the Apocrypha too. Remember, I had a bunch of precepts there, and then we'll finish this out. And this is a good lesson. And prayerfully, praise, worship, and prayerfully, you stayed to actually watch the lesson. You took notes. You got your Bible out. You got your dictionary out, your Smith's Bible Dictionary, or whichever, your lexicon, whatever you use. You broke down some things. You understand some stuff. You wrote down some precepts. This is something where you should have homework. You take this home and you study this, and then you have questions. If you don't have questions, then you didn't stay for the lesson and you didn't pay attention. But this is important because you are under covenants that you need to be able to navigate through, whether they are covenants with Esau, Edom, through Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's hand, or whether they direct covenants from Yahweh through the Mashiach and the angels in the way that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has put it together. Either way, you are operating through covenants, whether you do it physically in the flesh or you're doing it cohesively through the flesh and the spirit. Please understand, this is a very serious lesson that's supposed to give you some serious input on what in ways you are to navigate as the tribulation is being turned up by Yahushua, through Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, through the hand of Yahushua and the angels. This stuff is going to get real deep, and if you're not structured enough in the truth, you're going to have some problems with getting and navigating through the problems that are happening. Your faith is going to be challenged to the point of almost destruction. You better get on point with this. Okay, now we're going to the Apocrypha, and Second Ezra is where we're going to start at. So go to get your Apocrypha out if you got one. Giving you a chance to grab it. You should have had it on right there with you all already, because I told you in the beginning we were going to cover all of the books, including the 41 verses that were going to be in the 7 books of the Apocrypha. Okay, so here we go. All right. All right. Second Ezra chapter 2, verse 5. As for me, O O Abba, O Father, I call upon thee for a witness over the mother of these children, which would not keep my covenant. Okay, that's 2nd Ezra chapter 2:5. Now, 2nd Ezra saying 2:7. Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen. Let their names be put out of the earth, for they have despised my covenant. See, that was the scattering right there, talked about in 2nd Ezra and the Apocrypha. Okay. 2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 15. And madest and madest an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that thou wouldest never forsake his seed. Okay. 2nd Ezra chapter 10, verse 22. 2nd Ezra 10:22. Our upholstery is laid on the ground. That's the clothes, the what you're wearing, upholstery, right? Our song is put to silence. Our rejoicing is at an end. The light of our candlestick is put out. The ark of our covenant is spoiled. Our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon is almost profane. Our children are put to shame. Our priests are burnt. Our Levites are gone into captivity. Our virgins are defiled. Our wives ravished. Our righteous men carried away. Our little ones destroyed. Our young men are brought into bondage, and our strong men are become weak. That is covering the destruction from 70 AD all the way up to what's going on right now in slavery, the whole nine, and we're still in slavery. That covers all that in terms of the covenant, right? All right. The book of Judith, verse 9:13. And make my speech and deceit to be their wound and strife, who have proposed cruel things against thy covenant, in thy hallowed house, and against the top of Zion, and against the house of the possession of thy children. Okay, that was Judith 9:13. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 16. But ungodly men with their works and words called it to them, for they, for when they thought to have it, their friend, they consumed to naught and made a covenant with it, because they were worthy to take part with it. In other words, that was talking about the time when a bunch of wicked Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, wanted to join into the Greeks during that point of the captivity and take on their all their traits and all their ways, and actually are still doing it to this date right now. You think about all the fraternities and the stuff like that you see a lot of Israelites and Jakes be getting involved in. It's the same thing. They turned into that wickedness, and they're still doing it. Still taking on the form of the Greeks. Okay, we're going to Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. Sirach. Okay, so I'm going to say Sirach, but it's still Ecclesiasticus. So if your Apocrypha says Sirach, fine. If your Apocrypha says Ecclesiasticus, either way. Chapter 11, verse 20. Be steadfast in thy covenant, and be conversant therein, and wax old in thy work. All right, so stay in the word and study hard, because you're going to need it. Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 14:12. Remember that death will not be long in coming, and that the covenant of the grave is not shown unto thee. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 14:17. All flesh waxes old as a garment, for the covenant from the beginning is thou shalt die the death. So this actually said that the covenant was waxing old. We know about that because it says it in the scriptures it's waxing old, and we have a new one coming in the New Testament, right? But the new covenant is going to be perfect and righteous order with none of the stuff from this period of time. Okay. Sirach chapter 16:22. Who can declare the works of his justice? Question. Or who can endure them? Question. For his covenant is afar off, and the trial of all things is in the end. That's why the lesson says here, the trial of all things is in the end, right? That's why it says the end is new covenant revealed prophecy, and the beginning Sirach, Ecclesiastes chapter 17:12, he made an everlasting covenant with them and showed them his judgments. Sirach 20:24, Ecclesiastes 24:23. All right. All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High Yahweh, even the law which Moses commanded for an heritage unto the congregations of Jacob. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna read that again. That's fire. Ecclesiastes, Sirach 24:23. All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High Yahweh, even the law which Moses commanded for an heritage unto the congregation of Jacob only, no one else. Sirach 28, Ecclesiastes 28:7. Remember the commandments and bear no malice to thy neighbor. Remember the covenant of the highest, that's Yahweh, and wink at ignorance, right? Sirach 36:8. Ecclesiastes 36:8. Sake the times short. Remember the covenant, and let them declare thy wonderful works. Sirach 39, or Ecclesiastes 39:8. We did 36, we did 39. He shall show forth that which he hath learned, and shall glory in the law of the covenant of the Lord. Sirach 41, Ecclesiastes 41:19. Sirach 41:19. Ecclesiasticus 41:19. And of theft, Shalaki, and of theft in regard of a place where thou sojournest, and in regard of the truth of Yahweh and his covenant, and to learn with thine elbow upon the meat, and of scorning to give and take. In other words, that's almost talking about eating your meat defiled, because what we do here clearly in a major way. Okay, all right. Sirach 42:2. Of the law of the Most High and his covenant, and of judgment to justify the ungodly. That's Sirach, Ecclesiastes 42:2. Ecclesiastes, Sirach 44:11. With their seed shall continuously remain a good inheritance, and their children were within the covenant. Sirach 44:18. Ecclesiastes 44:18. An everlasting covenant was made with him, that all flesh should perish no more by the flood. Sirach 44:20. Ecclesiastes 44:20. Who kept the law of the Most High and was in covenant with him. He established the covenant in the flesh, and when he was proved, he was found faithful. Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahushua HaMashiach. Sirach 44:22. Or Ecclesiastes 44:22. With Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham his father's sake the blessing of all men in the covenant, and made it rest upon his head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing, and gave him an heritage, and divided his portions among the 12 tribes did he part them. See, that's fire. I love that. Oh, praises to Yahweh. Sirach 45:7. Okay. An everlasting covenant he made with him, and gave him the priesthood among the people. He beautified him with comely ornaments, and clothed him with a robe of glory. Oh man. Sirach 45:15. Moses consecrated him and anointed him with holy oil. This was appointed unto him by an everlasting covenant, and his seed so long as the heavens should remain, that they should minister unto him, and execute the office of the priesthood, and bless the people in his name. All praises call Allah Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rakakadash. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Sirach 45:24, Ecclesiastes 45:24. Therefore was there a covenant of peace made with him, that he should be the chief of the sanctuary and of his people, and that he and his prosperity should have the dignity of the priesthood forever. Yahweh Shai, baby. This is fire. I love it. I really had to do a lot of research to get this stuff, man, because I wanted all these precepts to show covenant all over the place. And this is what we're dealing with. This is what it's all about, man. Covenant. The Most High's covenant, right? 45:25. Sharat, Ecclesiastes 45:25. According to the covenant made with David, son of Jesse, of the tribe of Judah, that the inheritance of the king should be to his prosperity alone. So the inheritance of Aaron should also be unto his seed. Fire! Woo! Just a few more here. I got to get through this. How many do I got? Oh, what about this one? Oh, a few more. Sirach chapter 45, Ecclesiastes chapter Sirach or Ecclesiastes chapter 47, verse 11. The Lord took away his sins and exalted his horn forever. He gave him a covenant of kings and a throne of glory in Israel. See, no other nations in Israel. I'll read it again. Sirach, Ecclesiastes chapter 47:11. The Lord took away his sins and exalted his horn forever. He gave him a covenant of kings and a throne of glory in Israel. Baruch chapter 2. Baruch chapter 2, verse 35. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their power, and they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them. Israel. Additions to Daniel 1 verse 11. Yet deliver us not up wholly for thy name's sake, neither disannul thou thy covenant. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 11. In those days went out there of Israel wicked men, see, I was talking about that, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. See, wicked Hebrew Israelite men, man. They're here now. They're back trying to do that, right? First Maccabees 1:15. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. You see them doing it right now. Everything from false religious practitioners in their serapeums all the way up to these so-called fraternalized Greek organizational people who are doing the same wicked stuff, and the lay people who just all tatted up and crazied out of their mind with nasty dreads dripping from their call all you how about Jimmy outside. Ooh, do mischief. All right. Sold to do mischief. First Maccabees 1, chapter 163. Wherefore they rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died, right? All right. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 20. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. First Maccabees chapter 2:27. And Matthias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. And First Maccabees 2:50. All right. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. First Maccabees 2:30, chapter 2:54. Phineas, our father, is being zealous and favorite, obtain the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Finish it up. First Maccabees 4:10. Now, therefore, let us cry unto heaven, if peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us, and remember the covenant of our fathers, and Call on Yahweh. First Maccabees chapter 6:59, and covenant with them that they shall live after their laws, and that they did as they did before. For they are therefore displeased and have done all these things because we abolished their laws. First Maccabees chapter 7 verse 18. Wherefore the fear and dread of them fell upon the people, who said, there is neither truth nor righteousness in them, for they have broken the covenant and the oath that they made. First Maccabees 8:29. According to these articles did the Romans make a covenant with the people of Israel. Second Maccabees chapter 1 verse 2. Yahweh be gracious unto you, and remember his covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his faithful servants. Second Maccabees 7:36. For our brethren who now suffered a short pain and dread under Yahweh's covenant of everlasting life, but thou, though the judgment of Yahweh, shalt receive just punishment for thy pride. That's the last precept. Now see, that's a good precept to end on, because you need to focus and understand this part. As I said, Yahweh is doing all of this. Everything he covers, you need to give the disclaimers all the time. Please, my brethren, I plead with you, stop giving Esau and stop giving these puppetized heathens like they have power that's beyond what Yahweh is doing or is going to do. He's doing it all. Y'all got to get this, man. I don't know what your problem is. You got spiritual blockage on you. You better praise, worship, and pray to get it off of you. But you better start disclaiming when you do your lessons and telling the brothers and the sisters in the truth, and especially the elect only, that the Most High is doing this. Say it throughout the lesson. You have to give it up. You give up honors and everything else to everyone else. Give up this. You got to tell them that this is what's going on. I'll read this last precept before I end this lesson, which I know is long, but it was worth it. Second Maccabees, chapter 7, verse 36. For our brethren, comma, who now have suffered a short pain, comma, are dead under Yahweh's covenant of everlasting life, colon, but thou, comma, through the judgment of Yahweh, comma, Shalaki, shalt receive just punishment for thy pride. Come out of the pride. Praise, worship, and pray to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, so that we can perform what's necessary through the spirit of prophecy that Yahweh Shai is bringing. Praise, worship, and pray. He keeps pounding on me about this because we're not doing it. And he's going to keep pounding on me about this until we get in this. I hope this lesson was beneficial to you. I hope it brings some enlightenment to you. And I hope you stayed for the entire lesson. Call Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rukakudas, and Shalom.